Now, earlier this week, you had something that impacts all the teams. And of course, we're down to 3 teams left, soon to be 2. And we're basically under a month away from the upcoming NHL draft. And draft week has become usually the week where if there's going to be bigger deals and more deals, that's when it's going to be. So you're going to have the trades, but also, of course, you have free agency. And you had your trade bait board, Frank. And the one name that you have at the top that and I saw tons of people like, why would Chicago do that? Why would Chicago do that? Alex DeBrincat, fresh off a 40-goal season, the guy can score goals. Him, Strome, and Kane became a pretty dynamic line for the Chicago Blackhawks, and I understand that they're in a retooling phase. So my question to you is, so if DeBrincat's getting dealt, do you think there's any chance that what's up with Jonathan Toews, and how will that change the potential focus of the Blackhawks? Do you think he comes back next season?
Well, to answer your question about DeBrincat first, this is not a retool. This is a full scorched earth 5, 6, 7 year rebuild. They are taking this down to the studs. There may not be any players left from this current team by the time they want to get to where they get to. It may include Patrick Kane, maybe Seth Jones with that contract, and that's kind of about it. Kirby Dach is another. It's not going to be many. And so I don't think people fully recognize or appreciate how barren how low a starting point the Blackhawks are starting at in terms of prospects, futures, draft assets and capital, all that stuff. They've got a long way to go. And when you look at it, a 2-time 40-goal scorer that's 24, just entering his prime, and Alex DeBrincat is someone that is going to jumpstart and kickstart that rebuild. So it's a question of when, not if, Alex DeBrincat is traded. It's likely this summer. It may wait until next season's trade deadline, but it's happening. I can very confidently say that. And they're going to use that to get things rolling for the rebuild. The other part of it is, one, people still seem surprised at that. Like, why wouldn't he be part of your rebuild? Well, as I mentioned, 5, 6, 7-year plan. You think it takes somewhere between 8 and 10 years, more to the point. He's 24 now. He'll be approximately 30 by the time they're where they want to be. That, and the whole time between now and then, they're going to need to pay him big bucks. He has a $9 million qualifying offer due at the end of this upcoming season. It gives you an indication of, as a 2-time 40-goal scorer, where he's heading money-wise. When you don't want to be good, you're not trying to be good, why would you want to shell out on a contract like that? It makes no sense. So that's their thought process, and they know that they can get a haul for him, considering the type of player he is and in his prime, and one more season at a very reasonable $6 million. With Jonathan Toews, to answer your question, the ball is in his court. He's entering the final year of his deal. He's not coming back after that. I think it's probably fair and safe to say that. I can, not with, full, definitively, rubber stamp it, bet your house on it. But he's already turned a side eye, Jason, to the rebuild. He doesn't sound like someone that wants to be part of it. Yeah. And he's had a ton of success there, right? Like, you don't want to go the other way. I honestly wonder if he wants to continue playing at all. And I'm sure he'll finish out this contract. But I wonder if he wants to continue beyond that. And whether he returns this season is up to him. If he raises his hand and says, I want out, trade me, like, I'm sure they'll be happy to facilitate it, even if it's for nothing, because they want to do right by him. If he wants the chance to go play somewhere else. I don't know what Jonathan Toews wants. I don't think they've engaged in those type of conversations yet with Kane and Toews. Kane has seemed way more interested in being part of the other end of it. And I think that's good news for Chicago, because I think Kane can be like, I think he's one of those players that we'll be talking about at age 40 and we'll be like, yep, same guy still.
Oh, hey, Kane is such a dynamic player. I think at times maybe gets underrated for, when I say that, I don't think people understand how much Kane was a key cog in that Stanley Cup winning team. I know he won, he scored so many key goals, but I don't think they go anywhere if they don't win the 2007 lottery. if and don't get
Do
Patrick
you really
Kane.
think he was underrated?
Well,
Like,
a
is that
little.
possible?
Well, it's funny because they
He's
had
won a Conn
Hossa.
Smythe, he's won a Hart, he's won an
Yeah.
Art Ross. Like, I mean, he's had a couple 100-point seasons. Like, what? Like, he's Showtime. He's been one of the biggest names, one of the biggest players in the game for 12 years.
Oh no, I just look at
Underrated though. I'm going to quibble
when
at
that
that.
contract was signed. Look at the difference since the day it was signed. Look at the production of Kane to Taves. Like it was.
Oh,
It's
it
not
was
even
always going to
close.
be that way though,
Yeah.
right? I
Not even
mean,
close.
they weren't signing Jonathan Taves for the points.
But not even that. Just look at his overall play. I don't think his overall play.
He's fallen off a cliff. And I think probably kind of predictable though, no, given, you know, his game, his assets, his attributes. Like he was never the fastest guy, never the strongest guy, never the biggest guy. You know, Jonathan Taves is a pure grinder. He relied on, you know, edge and motivation and giving it everything he has to be successful. He's not overloaded with talent and skill.
Yeah, I guess so. It goes back to, I remember the while there were people trying to say that Taves or Crosby were his two best players in the league. And I'm like, what? Taves isn't even the best player in his team. But
yeah,
so
he wasn't even the third best player on this team.
Yeah.